This is Larry Zbyszko, wrestling's living legend, and I'm here live and in color with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
Welcome once again to Live and in Color with Wolfie D and my man Jimmy across the street. Jimmy, what's going on in the wrestling world today?
Oh man, I don't even know, bro. I just do podcasts.
Yeah, I've seen you had some pretty cool guests on your show, man. Tommy Hagee, Wildcat Wendell Cooley. Those are going to be some good shows, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Wendell's awesome. Shane Morton, the booker of the Stars, hooked that one up for me. So much kudos to him. But yeah, Tommy Hagee, man, come on. I've been trying to get Tommy and Cool Breeze on this show, man. I don't know why it hasn't happened, but definitely needs to happen because y'all have that history with them in the USWA. So that's awesome. For
sure. And history of hell, they both wrestled me when I was a little boy.
Yeah.
Basically. 15, 16 years old, 17, Cool Breeze used to beat the fucking brakes off of me, man, when I was a little kid.
Give me a little bit of his laugh.
Him and Billy Jack Haynes. It's kind of about the same laugh.
Violent men with scary laughs.
I know. That is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, super crazy.
Yeah. But
Dirty White Boy just called me and left me a voicemail. He's going to tell me I ghosted him. That's what he tells me every time. But anyway, we're doing the podcast, White Boy. I'll call you back.
In just a minute.
Yeah.
How is White Boy?
Have you talked to him in a minute? Thing. Elizabethton, Tennessee, May the 10th. They're doing a Smoky Mountain Mania show. It's going to have myself, Dirty White Boy, Rock and Roll Express, Mustafa Saeed from the Gangstas.
Wow.
Jimmy Golden, and I think there's a few others that are going to be added in, but that's the meet and greet part. Even though I already know that Rock and Roll is going to work, White Boy is going to manage. They're asking me to work. We're going to see on that one. Wanting to put me and Mustafa in there against the Rock and Roll. So we'll see about that. I don't know yet, but I haven't given a complete answer on that. But I will be there. So that's something upcoming that the fans can look forward to.
Elizabethton, by the way. And if you're going to go there, you need to know how to say it. That's in my old hood in Tri-Cities, right? It's right outside of Johnson City, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that'll be good, man.
It is. That is that area, yeah.
Yeah, you should go by, what's his name, School of Morton, man. Try to see what they're doing over there, too.
See if they'll give me some tips.
No, I'm saying show them kids what's going on, man.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I'll be there on that.
When is that again? Repeat
May
that.
The 10th.
All right, man. May the 10th. That's very cool.
Yep.
And then your book is ahead of schedule, too, right?
Yes, the book is ahead of schedule. We're looking at, we were thinking fall, but now we're talking about May or June. So there's a possibility that Elizabethton could be the first place that I actually have books and sell them. I don't know. I'm not promising that, but it could be around that time. It depends. The major thing is whether once they get me the detail, not the details. What's the word I'm looking for? All the writing, because I'm the proofreader. I got to look at it and go, okay, this is acceptable or not.
Right.
And so I feel like when I get it, I'm gonna be like, okay, no, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. So if there's a holdup, it's probably gonna be me. So I don't know. We'll see. We got one more talk scheduled for me to dictate everything next week. Yeah, man, that's coming on. So
that's cool, man. Yeah, that's very cool. It came on quick too, huh? Right? Like,
yeah, it did. We just put it in, and all of a sudden, woo!
There you go, man. There you go.
We came quick on this one.
So have you come up with a title for it yet? Or are you gonna...
I've got some things in mind, man. I really do. And then I reached out to some of the people on social media and stuff, and they had some good ideas. But yeah, man, I don't know yet.
All surprise.
It's going to take me reading the stuff first before I can really narrow it down. But my idea is, though, and on a cover too, because they want me to do the cover, and I'm like, I hate drawing myself. Please don't ask me to draw myself. Yeah. And so we're working on that. But at the same time, I'm thinking A Tale of Two Wolves. You know that story? Which wolf do you feed?
Which wolf do you feed? I live by that story.
I think a lot, and I think I fed the wrong one for a long time. So I think that's a fitting title, A Tale of Two Wolves. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that, actually. That's very accurate and true, man. So yeah, that's good. I like that. You should get Lawler to draw the cover, man.
Well, you know what? I sent Kevin a message.
Yeah.
And I said, how has the last stroke affected your dad's artwork? And so that's not a thing.
Oh, gotcha. Dang.
Yeah. So it's either me or the writer, Christopher Pelton, is going to reach out to someone, because he's a horror convention, Comic-Con guy and stuff like that, and he knows people on that. So I just told him, I said, man, I hate drawing myself. I really do. I really hate drawing me.
Yeah. Man, who else could you get, though? Because it'd be cool if I mean, obviously it's not you, and then you say your friend Stuart flaked on it, right? He's not wanting to do it.
Kind of, yeah. I don't know why.
All respect to Stu, but
yeah.
But yeah, so he doesn't really want to do it. Now, hey man, he's thinking of this as this epic thing, probably, he's maybe not thinking. That's what I would, maybe consider. Yeah. But anyway, so who else can draw, man? I mean, who else is in your
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd almost just, like I said, just get somebody, because I want it to be comic style. And with that title, I'm thinking like, a split face or a back-to-back with Wolfie D and Slash standing back-to-back with their arms crossed, superhero style or something like that. I don't know. I don't know, man. And like I said, until I read what I've said to them and dictated to them and that format, I don't know that I have an answer to it, but we'll see, and I hope everybody, man, I know the listeners are bad about giving us feedback, but man, give us some feedback.
Yeah, any day now. They're pretty good on YouTube, man. We've got The Apprentice over there. We've got John Lewis. We've got all kinds of good people. Big G, Lil Wayne. He's always good and telling us what we're doing wrong. So,
we're doing wrong.
Yeah, he's just kind of a caller outer kind of guy, Wow. But we need those, man. You need those in life,
Absolutely.
He listens. That's the important part. He just throws out his opinion. So, hey,
does he says we're the shits, right?
No. He'll say something like Jerry. He says something funny. Actually, he's actually a very funny dude. He says stuff like Jerry Stubbs sounds just like David Schultz. Like, he doesn't really comment on the stuff going on in the show. He kind of picks up on, and he does. If you listen to Jerry Stubbs, he actually does sound like David Schultz. So good call.
And I'll tell you on that Jerry Stubbs thing and the Bullet's name and all that. The Road Dogg texted me back, and his answer was, well, Jerry's kind of full of shit, but maybe. That was so funny. I laughed out loud at that, seriously, when he texted me back. He said, maybe, I don't know. He said, my dad always loved him, but he was also full of shit. But that's just old school wrestlers, man. That's just old school wrestlers. Love them.
You gotta love
them. You do. Yeah. I just watched a thing on social media it was Rock and Roll versus Midnight Express, meaning Bobby and Dennis, and it was, I mean, of course, Bobby's dead, but it was not that old, before Bobby passed away or whatever. And somebody was knocking it, and it was like, if you watched it, it was like they were just out there fucking playing around. It looked better than a lot of stuff I've seen recently from young guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like they were really, you could tell they were just playing with each other and stuff and doing a little goofy spot and blah, blah, blah. But it looked great. Yeah.
I just recently watched, maybe it was a recent Rock and Roll. It was like one of the later day Rock and Roll midnight matches. Mm-hmm. And dude, to watch how like Ricky would do the forward roll and then come up and bounce their heads together. And like, you could tell that their heads never touch, but Bobby is just selling it. And Dennis is like, oh my, he's kind of doing that Arn like fight with his fists up, who's here? I'm here, and Bobby's just rolling rolling from corner post to post, just selling it on the outside. It was awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome, man. I mean, I miss those days when you could get in the ring and just play around and have fun with each other. We would rib each other. We would lock up and tell a joke. You know what I'm saying? And I just know it's not like that anymore. And that's the stuff you see. The people don't even know, man. We'd lock up and fucking tell a joke. What the fuck you doing tonight, asshole? Or, you know what I mean? Just something like that. It was just so much fun back then. But anyway, we got another living legend. Not another one, but the living legend.
The original, I guess, the real living legend. Yeah. I mean, I'm stoked, man. Larry Zbyszko, bro. Come on. What a hookup.
Let's give it up for Captain Nick, too. He shot me the number, and I started talking with Zbyszko, how many weeks ago?
Before the end of the year. So it was in 2024, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it?
You were like, are you really talking to this guy? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fucking talking to him.
I knew you were talking
to him, and I just gotta, we're trying to work it out. And it just, and then that one day where the city here knocked out my internet, we were supposed to do it, and I had to tell him, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's been a thing, but now we got him, man. We got him.
Yeah, he's landed. The eagle has landed. The legend has landed. Sure. So I'm
trained by Bruno Sammartino. That's pretty damn cool.
I mean, dude, he's just, he's funny. He's old school, but he's also like, he's got a foot in the new school. Like he understands, he knows what day it is, like he knows what's up. Yeah. So
and it's funny because before we've done this, I've had, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 conversations with him on the side of and I told you, I said, I wish I was recording. And you're like, I wish you were recording too. I mean, I've had a few conversations with him, just talking, shooting the shit, man. And, letting him know, hey, man, this is me. And he was like, oh, yeah, and I think he's called. This is a thing I told him, may or may not bring it up in this, but I think he's called a few of our matches when we were in WCW. Not positive, but I feel like he has. But
I'm sure. Yeah, any of the Nitro stuff, he's probably on that.
Yeah. So I don't know, but anyway, let's get the living legend, Larry Zbyszko. Also called him legend in the Unbreakable Bunch. Man, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, and I say let's boo on me or boo on him. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Take your plans out of the group chat and get long weekend ready in new Abercrombie. From day to night, pack new outfits for every part of your itinerary. Grabbing brunch? Throw on the A&F Mila dress. Then head to your dinner reservation in their new bubble hem mini dress. And yes, permission to overpack for pics with the girls. Abercrombie's best-selling Scarlet Squirt deserves a post in your feed. Your plans are worth it. Shop Abercrombie's new long weekend collection online or in store.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free Second Look review. Second Look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I am here to help you with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments
Well, I've got a complicated project.
Oh, not a problem. I can even schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay.
So the first room we're looking at is for guests.
Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 45% on select styles. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hey folks, to get your official Live It in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, folks, we're back and we are blessed. We are so blessed today. I've been on the phone for about 3 weeks trying to make this happen. Had a few conversations on the side that I, trying to make this happen. So I am very happy, very blessed to introduce to you today two-time AWA World Heavyweight Champion and 2015 class WWE Hall of Famer, the living legend, Larry Zbyszko.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's clap, Jimmy. Let's clap.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Seriously.
Hell, last week my internet was knocked out. Then you had something going on, but we've been working on this, and now we're making it happen, and I really appreciate it, Larry.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, it worked out good, so we'll whip it out. And go get them, guys. Whatever you want, let me know, and I'll talk them up.
I'm glad we are not on video if you're about to whip it out. So we'll just kayfabe to whip it out. Kayfabe to whip it out. All right. So today we're going to talk about a few things, man. The first thing that I want to ask, we're going to do some wrestling-related stuff, but I definitely want to talk about the Unbreakable Bunch. We had Ray on here, Glacier. We talked about the Unbreakable Bunch. You played a big part in that movie. You had a big role in it. But before we get to that, I do want to talk a little wrestling with you because you definitely are a living legend. The one thing that I want to know is your experience when you were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame by your mentor, your trainer, your friend, Bruno Sammartino. What did that mean to you?
Oh, you know what? To me, that was the closing final moment that made a dream come true, a young boy's dream come true. Because when I was young, Bruno was my hero. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I had this dream. Everybody's got a dream for what they want to do with their life. Because we're here in a temporary body, 70, 80, 90 years, and then we go back to heaven. It's a long story. It's another time. Yeah. But when Bruno inducted me in the Hall of Fame and Vince was there and a great company and everything worked out, when I got that gold ring, that solidified and made a positive, it was a positive ending, and it made a dream come true. My life's dream came true when Bruno inducted me into the Hall of Fame. It was a moment that I really got really emotional about and kind of blanked out for a minute talking because I was so overwhelmed by things to say and the emotion of it. But it was a dream come true.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And compare that now to let's just say the first AWA title win. And I know when you're in the midst of the business and, especially back then, like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't the same for you, but for me, it was like everybody always said, oh, don't be a mark for the belts and, they don't mean shit and blah, blah, blah. But winning the AWA World title had to have meant something to you, especially on the first time. Or am I right or wrong?
Oh, of course it did, because that means that you have made it to the top of that stairway to heaven that everybody wants to make it to. I mean, it's a symbol that you were a success at what you wanted to do in your dream, and you worked your butt off to get there, and it meant something. And it was weird because at that time, the era of wrestling was changing. Because it went from the days of the territories in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. But then after that, the era started changing where it became the end of the territories and the beginning of nationwide cable and nationwide pay-per-view. So it was a new era. It was a new era in wrestling, and it was exciting.
Yeah.
The AWA was on ESPN, Vegas and New York. And the funny thing about ESPN, because they would say, we're the sports network.
Right.
But they had to have professional wrestling on to get ratings to survive.
That's awesome.
And then after a couple of years, when wrestling got them the ratings, then they dropped the wrestling and did the other sports. But wrestling was the one that made ESPN happen.
Yeah. Jimmy, I'm gonna give you a quick tag, man. Hop on in here for some wrestling questions.
The hot tag, well, we're talking about AWA, and one of the things that brought me, like you talked about, the wrestling on ESPN, the other thing that brought me to become a fan of the AWA and know more about it was the Remco AWA action figures. And Legend, might I say this, I think yours was actually one of the best looking of the bunch. Some of them some of them were a little bit like off the, it was like you could tell they kind of just threw some paint on them and made them the Road Warriors. But yours actually looked like you could actually see Larry Living Legend Zbyszko in your action figure. And that was kind of unheard of, even for WWF at the time. Talk about that. How did that feel? What do you remember about that time?
Well, that time, like I said, it was the changing of an era, to national cable and pay-per-view. And it was also the beginning of merchandising. They didn't have dolls and stuff in the 60s and the 70s. So it was the beginning of a whole new era, which included, dolls, action figures, T-shirts. It included merchandising, and the fans loved it. So they could walk around, with a guy's shirt on who was their favorite guy, or have wrestle dolls and, put on wrestling matches in their little plastic rings at home, the kids. But that was part of a new era of wrestling, was the invention of the action figures and the merchandising.
Yeah. It was so cool because, I just remember thinking, I was like, okay, that kind of looks like Terry Gordy. It's got Ric Flair's nose. Okay. Greg Gagne looks close, but man, that is Larry Zbyszko right there. There is no question on that. They got that perfect. I've actually been able to interview Steve Rosenthal, the guy who kind of got that going with Vern or Greg. I'm not sure who, but anyway, Steve was talking about how difficult it was to get some of those faces the way he wanted them to, but he was very happy with yours.
Okay. Well, like I said, that was just the beginning of it. So, trial and error, but mine came out good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, sir. Do you have any of those still?
You know what? I might have. I got a couple around, but I don't have much stuff left because after all these years, I've been contacted by a lot of collectors that say, hey, do you have an old jacket? Do you have any old trunks? Do you have any old boots? Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, well, instead of me dropping dead someday and all this stuff winds up in the garbage, I'd rather pass it on to people and collectors who care about it, and it'll be saved forever in prosperity. So right now, I really don't have anything left. No more boots, no more trunks, no jackets.
Dang.
But I do got a couple of action figures left.
That's cool. That's cool.
The latest one was from the Hall of Fame action figure.
Yes, it was a great figure. Yeah, great figure. Yeah. I was going to ask that it's such a crazy pathway from how realistic they've become these days to days, when you all looked like He-Man, which, of course you always did look like He-Man, but when for the other guys.
They did in the old days. Nowadays, you got guys in there like 150 pounds.
Right.
And I'm watching him run around the ring going, what the hell? My wrists are bigger than his arms. Yeah. Why is this guy in the business?
Yes.
I'm not mentioning any names, but you can watch it and see for yourself.
Sure. I want you to feed off of this real quick. I was watching last night, the Raw from last night. They lead off the show with Punk and Seth Rollins, and all they did was a pull apart. It was a great pull apart, and it lasted for about 10 minutes, but it was done so good. And then I actually was talking to somebody that was interviewing me this morning, and something came up, and I said, listen, last night just proves what I keep saying. I said, AEW and a lot of these places, man, you got these young kids that are out there doing high spots for 10 minutes. I said, last night the crowd was going nuts for two grown men who look like athletes doing a pull apart. That's all they did was a pull apart. People would rather see two grown men fight than two little guys spring around the ring like gymnasts for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right or wrong?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where, I mean, in the ring, you've got amazing athletes. They're amazing athletes.
No doubt.
But
no doubt.
They're all doing the same stuff. Right. They're all running up and back and flipping over the top rope, and you got two guys with their arms out ready to catch them. Or you got another guy back flipping off the top turnbuckle, and he crashes through the announce desk. It happens almost every, match or show.
Yeah.
But it's so much the same that when you see guys do other stuff besides just running up and back and then this, I don't know what this obsession is with slapping each other. If you slap somebody, the crowd goes, woo, They slap you 5-6 times, and then they go to throw you in the corner, but they get reversed. Because the slaps meant nothing, but if you're in a real fight, are you going to slap a guy?
Right.
Or punch him in the mouth?
Although I will say there was a viral video that went around a couple of years ago. Two guys in it looked like a restaurant or something, and the one guy comes up to him and actually flare chops the guy like hard as shit. It knocked the hell out of him. It's hilarious, but
yeah,
once in a lifetime, I guess. But it was funny.
It's funny, but I mean the thing is, and God bless the wrestling fans. They're the greatest fans of all, and they love them. And the WWE is a great company, and they put on an awesome production.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome production, and every athlete in the ring, they're amazing athletes. They train their butts off. They work their butts off, but there's a lot of them. Every match is the same, and I wish they got to go back to a little more wrestling and a little less of the gymnastic stuff.
Yeah, and I do think, though, that especially WWE, because I don't watch anything but that, and if I watch it, because I don't watch every show, I usually watch the pay-per-views, but they, in the past year and a half, I think that they've really reeled it in and brought it back to some old-school values and psychology in the ring and out, so that's appealing to me, and I know they're doing good business. So
I mean, it's not Larry, Bruno, and Shea, but I mean,
I don't mean I'm not going that far back. They are reeling it in.
yeah. Let's just be honest. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as time goes on, they make changes because they know the secret of programming, and it's like if you got a favorite show, it could be anything like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You thought it's my favorite show, but God, I've seen it 100 times. These episodes. Is there anything else on TV?
Right.
And that's where wrestling goes. After a few years, they go, okay, we've been doing this. Let's change it around because people are saying, well, we've seen this so much. So I mean, they're very smart. And again, it's a great company. Triple H is doing a great job. I know they got bought out by TKO or Endeavor or some company with the UFC and that. So, I mean, it's an amazing show to watch,
Yeah. I want to ask you this before we get on to some other stuff. So you get out of the ring, you retire, and you make your way to the broadcast booth. How is that kind of hard on you? Because like you're watching guys do stuff, and I don't know about you, but like me sitting and watching wrestling, I'm also trying to be a fan, but more or less I'm sitting here going, yeah, that was good, or that was the shits, or I could do that better. I mean, was it hard to make that transition to where you were kind of unbiased in a sense of calling the matches?
You know what? It's an interesting question, and here's the interesting story. Because I was in the ring, and I started the 73, 80 big Bruno thing through the 80s as my most hated guy. Mm-hmm. And then the early 90s, Turner sold out. But what happened was, thanks to Jesse Ventura, I mean, I was with WCW, and Bill Watts was in there at the time, and he was an a-hole. No one liked Bill Watts.
Right.
And he started this group, the Dangerous Alliance.
Which I love.
And I
love that group.
I was one of them. But
right.
The secret of being a star, I didn't want to be part of a group. Even though it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Rick Rude and Arn and some others, I didn't want to lose my image as the living legend. I didn't want to be the cruncher. I didn't want to do what Bill Watts said.
Right.
So I went to the TBS people, and legitimately I had a little torn cartilage in my knee because I was 41 years old now or so at the time. And you start getting past 40 as a professional wrestler, things catch up.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, you know what? My knee hurts because I wanted to get out of the group.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got a little orthoscopic knee cleaner up or whatever it was. And I was home for a couple months floating in a pool rehabbing. They're still sending me a check. God bless Turner. But what happened was I never planned on broadcasting. Never thought about it. I wanted to be Bruno, not Tony Schiavone.
Right.
I mean, and Tony's great, but I never planned on being, a broadcaster. But what happened was Jesse was doing it, and I don't know if that's when he went to be governor or mayor or whatever, but I'm floating in the pool. I get a call one day from TBS as I'm rehabbing my knee, and the guy says, hey, Larry, can you do us a favor? Jesse the Body Ventura just quit, and can you come down to, TBS CNN Center here and voice over a couple of pre-taped shows for the syndicated market?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, excuse me. I said, sure, yeah, I'll come down and talk over some shows, which I'd never even thought of. But I felt guilty because they were paying me, so I went down and I voiced over a couple of shows. And I can't remember who I did it with, whether it was Tony Jr., Gordon Soley. But anyway, after doing a couple of shows, the door busted open. And the executive producer, I believe his name was Craig Leathers at the time, he came in and said, Larry, you're the best color man we've ever heard. Would you like to do the color on our shows? And and then he said, and we'll pay you this much a year as an employee, which was double what I was ever making as a wrestler. Because it was a weird time. It was a time when Ted Turner was giving money away like candy,
right?
And Vince was, signing big contracts because they didn't want their talent going back and forth from WCW, to the WWE.
Right.
So I just work one day a week and talk over this, and then Nitro happened, and so I said, yeah, hell, I'll do it. And I was, like I said, 41, 42, and that's why my body's still good. I don't need any artificial parts. So I wound up, with a 10-year broadcasting career, which really came easy for me because I looked at it like it was real and made it sound as real as I could.
You did.
Plus, when things changed, like the New World Order, I'm the one who named and influenced. I influenced the name, the New World Order, that Eric heard and loved and said, okay, that's the name. So I basically named the New World Order, and then I programmed the beginning of it, where I came out of the broadcast booth and had a match with Bischoff, had a match with Scott Hall, and I'm the one that got the New World Order, off the bat at the beginning. Because if you're going to make something big, you have to do it right from the beginning. Yeah. And at that time, Eric was in there, but he's a smart guy. And he got a lot of ideas, but he knew what a good idea was and a bad idea. And when he heard me calling it the New World Order, he said, yeah, that's the name. We're calling it the... And then he wanted to get involved, so I programmed me and him, and the fans wanted to see me and Scott Hall, so I programmed the whole beginning of the New World Order and named it.
That's amazing.
So
That's
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
People are trying to compare now since they switched Cena heel the other night on the pay-per-view with The Rock. They're trying to compare that to Hogan's
The Rock's
turn.
a bad guy now?
Oh, yeah. The Rock's been a heel, but he just switched Cena to join him on the heel side. So they're trying to say that John Cena's heel turn the other night is compared to Hulk Hogan's heel turn in NWO. And I'm like, I mean, it was good, but it ain't that damn good. Come on.
Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope-ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Whether it's a movie night or just midday, Skinny Pop is a salty snack that keeps on giving. Made with just 3 simple ingredients for an irresistibly delicious taste and a large serving size that lasts. Deliciously popped, perfectly salted. Skinny Pop, popular for a reason. Shop Skinny Pop now.
Are you done with the cold? Well, on Saturday, March 29th, we've got something to warm you up. It's Glory Days GrappleCon 2 at the Residence in Tampa Suncoast in Lutz, Florida. This all-day event will be a WCW reunion and feature the stars you remember, such as Double A Arn Anderson, the Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff, Ming, Dirty Dutch Mantel, Colonel Robert Parker, Bunkhouse Buck, and much, much more. There will be over a dozen stars in attendance. Make sure to head on over to Tickettree.com to get your tickets for Glory Days GrappleCon 2.
So onward to your new venture. Speaking of commentating, tell us about your new commentating gig.
What happened was about a month ago, I get a call from a guy, long story short, and there's a new wrestling show starting. It's going to be on some streaming stations. I think Trilla's one of them, Roku's one of them. There's so many. I still have a flip phone, so I don't understand a lot of this stuff. But what it is it's called Shoot Pro Wrestling. You can Google it on shootprowrestling.com.
Okay.
And what it is, it's a true sport. It's an ancient sport. One-on-one submission wrestling was big in the ancient Egyptians, thousands of years ago. And then it was big in the Roman Empire, and it was the Romans who turned it into a real bone-breaking, physical, nasty, break your arm, break your shoulder, put you to sleep, break your neck. I mean, a one-on-one submission wrestler will beat anybody one-on-one in the world, a boxer, a karate guy. Yeah. I mean, UCF guys are pretty tough guys, but they spend some time on boxing, skills. They spend sometimes on kicking skills. Yeah. But a shoot wrestler spends 100% time on just how to break your body and hurt you. So there's a new wrestling show started called Shoot Pro, and they filmed some matches, and they're going to film some more, and me and this guy Matt are going to do the, commentary over it. And it should be out in maybe a month or so on something, Trilla, Roku, and some other stuff.
Now, is it 100% shoot? It's not a work at all?
This is 100% ancient sport submission wrestling. There's no punching. There's no kicking. It's
no gimmicks,
pure art.
Nothing? No
Nothing.
characters.
Wow.
Okay. This is real, 100% real submission wrestling.
What is it in a ring or is it on the mat? Like a Olympic style mat?
Well, yeah, they filmed it on a mat.
Okay.
And I told them, because I'm on the advisory board, I said, film it on a mat because, most of the action is on the ground. It's not a show. No one's diving off the ropes. And when you shoot the wrestling, which mostly is on the mat, the ropes get in the way.
Right.
But no one's running the ropes. No one's diving off the ropes. You don't need ropes. That's professional wrestling stuff, boxing stuff. They even refer to the ring as the squared circle. I said, just make a big circle on a mat, shoot pro in the middle. But this is 100% real.
Gotcha.
It's real.
That's awesome.
And there's going to be people taken to the emergency room because in 30 seconds, I mean, you can break someone's arm, you can pop a shoulder out, pop a knee, break a neck. Yeah. This is real. And I think it's going to get a lot of attention because it is real.
Have you already done a voiceover, so you've watched the match and all that?
No, I seen some early stuff they filmed and gave them some suggestions.
Yeah.
And then they filmed some more, and then they're going to film some more, but I haven't done any broadcast over it yet.
Yeah.
Because they're going to, they want to film it the right way. They had to change the lighting. They had to change the camera angle because no one's flying through the air, flipping around. Most of the action's on the mat. So you have to have the camera level on the mat so you can see how this guy's arm got broken, this hold works. And it's a true art and science. It's an art of playing the human game of chess, getting someone in trouble. But it's a science of human anatomy, how to put a grip on no one can break, how to put the pressure on an arm bar to pop an elbow. Brock Lesnar did a great job with the arm bar. I mean, Brock could break your arm, pop your shoulder out. He was good.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
but this is real. It's 100% real.
That's awesome. Cool. That is very cool. Okay, so the Living Legend moniker, it's crazy to think about, but I can't, even Larry Byrd, I think they put that Living Legend on Larry Byrd, and I can't think about it on anybody else but you. When did that come to you? Did someone give that to you? Can you tell me a little bit about the specifics of the Living Legend?
Here's the story, because if you look back in time, television didn't hit everybody's home till the early 1950s sometime.
Yeah.
When every household was getting a TV, and on the top of everybody's houses, there was a big antenna. And that was the first time people got to watch TV and see like Yogi Bear and Mickey Mantle or Dick Butkus. But they were young guys.
Yeah.
And even Bruno was a young guy, But then all of a sudden, 20 years go by, and Bruno, there was someone in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette or something that first came up with the name, Pittsburgh's own Bruno Sammartino, is a living legend. But because time went by from the 50s to the 60s, now to the end of the 70s, the guys were getting older. So the term legend started to mean something because they were retired, they're getting older, and they were a legendary figure. And in wrestling, Bruno was actually the first guy I ever heard called the living legend.
Okay.
But in 1980, after our big feud, and because everybody hated me and I was still a young guy, I'd walk around and do all my interviews saying, I'm the new living legend, which I was still young. It just made people hate me more.
Okay.
But then, that was in the early 80s. But then the 80s, the 90s. So, it went on so long that it stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the first one in wrestling that ever used it, from the Bruno era. So it kind of stuck with me for the last 35 years or so because I used to say that and call myself the living legend to piss everybody off because they obviously knew I wasn't.
Until you became the actual deal. So,
well, yeah. As I got older, I grew into the part.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Who is your favorite person to work with? Like, I know that's a hard question. It is for me, and my career was nowhere near like yours. But who was like the person that you just really meshed with the best?
You know what? I hate to say this because it sounds kind of like I'm bragging.
Yeah.
But I was so good in the ring, and I had so much heat where people would chant Larry sucks, and then I got, like when the cheat sheets came out, they said, oh, Zbyszko stalled a lot. But I never stalled. I just let the people go berserk. You want to chant Larry sucks for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Go ahead, and I did this, did that, and, and made them that. But it was so easy, but I don't want to put myself over and brag, but I was so easy in the ring to work with because people hated me for real. In real life, they thought I was an asshole.
Yeah.
I had them convinced I was a real asshole.
Right.
So I had great matches with, Bockwinkel, with Slaughter, with Harley Race, with Snuka, with Don Morocco. I mean, everybody I really got in the ring with was a night off because I had so much heat and I knew what to do with it. So there were so many guys. It's really hard for me to say who's my favorite guy. They were all great to work with.
Yeah. Do you have you just named a lot of names that, are arguably people will argue for and against. Oh, he was the best. No, he was the best. No, he was the best. Do you have a decisive answer on who you think the best was? Because, and this is just, let me say this before I say what I'm fixing to say. I was, honored enough. My friend, the Road Dogg, got me on Ric Flair's last match pay-per-view. I was a producer and a talent, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to have been a part of that. I think Ric Flair's awesome. Do I think he's the best wrestler ever and a little bit overrated in that way? Yes, I do. Who do you think is the best?
Well, in terms of my dream and my inspiration, to me, Bruno was the best because people truly loved him the most.
Yeah.
When Bruno started bleeding and fell down to the mat, people in the audience got heart attacks because they believed in Bruno so much. They got heart attacks. Man, it became a sick joke. Bruno, you're killing our audience, But there was a lot of great ones. Flair did it. I stole stuff from guys like Bruno and some other old school guys. Flair took a little stuff from Gorgeous George and Buddy Rogers,
right?
With the Nature Boy stuff. Yeah. And one of the secrets was being good on the microphone. Flair was good on the microphone.
For sure.
I was great on the microphone.
Yes.
So, but back then we do a 2-minute interview. You watch a wrestling show now, someone comes out in a suit with a microphone and talks for 15 minutes. It's about, we used to be friends, and then someone comes out with a microphone and interrupts them. It's too much already, my God.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your thoughts on, because I'm a Memphis guy and a lot of our listeners are from the Memphis territory. What are your thoughts on Jerry Lawler?
Oh, Lawler was one of the greats.
Yeah.
And again, he was great in the ring. He was great on the stick. And me and Lawler were going to have a match, and I was looking forward to it because me and Jerry could have had a great match. And it was great. And this was the time when I think Jerry was up in the AWA and had the belt for a while. And then I was going to be coming into the AWA. But right before I got there, Jerry and Byrd got into some argument about a payday and getting paid, which happened a lot in those days because there was no contracts and guys would go out and look at the house and say, well, God, it's a sellout. I should be getting at least this much.
Right.
So Jerry and Byrd had a disagreement, and by the time I got there, Jerry just left.
Yeah.
So I went, oh, darn. So I never had a chance to work with him.
That's
Wish
amazing.
I would have, because me and Jerry would have had a great match.
Man,
I never worked with Flair. Me and Flair would have had a great match.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, y'all, yeah, you would have had incredible matches.
So do you have, and this is a little bit different. I'm going to reword it a little bit. So do you have a match that you go, that was the match of my career?
Well, I mean, the thing that made me a name was the feud with Bruno. Because people remember Shea Stadium, but we sold out Madison Square Garden, plus the Phelps Forum underneath 3 times, plus the Boston Garden, Philly Spectrum, Pittsburgh Civic Arena, everywhere we went for months.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as my career went, that's the feud that made me famous, that gave me the biggest break I could have got.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And now a word from our sponsor.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does without me lifting a finger, so I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, stop by Captain's Corner, where you can get autographed photos, cards, magazines, and figures from all of your favorite wrestling superstars of the past, present, and future. You'll also be able to participate in live signings in the weeks and months to come. Make sure to stop by Captain's Corner on Facebook and give us a holler. Remember, cheers to the working man.
Jimmy, before we go talking about the Unbreakable Bunch, you got another wrestling question?
I mean, it's kind of funny that
I know you do.
I mean, of course I do. Do you have any Bruno stories? Can you tell? I mean, because I think Bruno to me he's almost like a founding father to a modern day wrestling fan. You know what I'm saying? Like Lou Thez, Bruno Sammartino. These names are just like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson to a lot of modern day wrestling fans. They knew they exist. They knew they were important, but they know little to nothing about them. Can you tell me something that maybe would surprise people about Bruno? Or?
Well, I don't know if they'd be surprised, but Bruno was really the story of the American dream for the country, because his mother had 2 sons, Bruno, and Bruno had a brother. And when they were kids, young kids, they were escaping from the Nazis from Italy and going across, to try to get to America.
Yeah.
And they'd be hiding in the hills, and Bruno's mother would sneak down a mountain at night to get some bread or something to feed her sons. One time she got shot in the leg by one of the Nazis trying to get up back into the mountains. And, a long, sad story short, but they made it. Her mother and Bruno and his brother made it to America. And when they got here, Bruno was basically almost dead from malnutrition. And it's kind of hard to believe because he looked so ridiculously powerful,
Right.
But it was because of, and he was one of the guys, and people knew the story, that they escaped from the Nazis. They made it to a country that took in immigrants and gave a freedom. And he's like a true story of the American dream come true.
Yeah.
And people do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that was a great question, Jimmy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, the way you set that up, too. The founding fathers, that was good, man.
Very good.
Really good.
I appreciate that.
So, okay, before...
And Bruno, too, he was a very humble, truthful guy. His word was his contract. And when Bruno would talk to people on, interviews, he was himself. And people knew he was a real, humble, honest guy who almost died to get the American dream, but then made it come true for him and his family.
Yeah. One of the greats ever.
So, I just thought of something else we got to get into real quick. Is this song that I did know? Excuse me for not knowing, but I did not know anything about this song you were talking about. Jimmy, did you know about this song?
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it.
I'm obviously going to have to do my homework. I'm going to feel ashamed, but
just can't wait to boo on me, boo on me, boo on me. I made you cry, oh, and I made you see red. That's what he said. When I picked up a chair and hit some old man on the head. Come on, boo on me, boo on me, boo on me. I understand you're all jealous. Tell me why, please, is it my long golden hair? Oh, that I look like Hercules. Hercules. Come on, boo on me, boo on me. All night TV. Man, that must really get you when you see someone like me, huh? I think I need a big boo. I think I need a double boo. Come on, I need a big fat boo. That's the game. Fortune's there for those who take it. It doesn't matter how you get there. All that counts is that you make it. What I want you to do now is boo on me. Come on, boo on me. Boo on me. Hey, got to boo on me. Boo on me. Boo on me. Boo on me. We all say, boo on this boy. Boo on me. Boston, boo on me. Just like Philadelphia boos on me. Woo! Pittsburgh boos on me. Come on, LA and Houston, boo on me. I need the boos. Hey, boo on me. Come on, Atlanta. Boo on this boy. Boo on this boy. Big fat double boo. Washington, D.C.
Talk about that, Larry.
Well, it was just weird because after I turned on Bruno in 1980, a couple guys I knew were building a sound studio in their basement to make records.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me if I could help them out when they tested some new equipment. So I said, okay. So I wrote and sung this one song, and I called it "Boo on Me" because everybody was booing on me.
Yeah.
And I did it in one take, and I told them what kind of music I like. So they added some of the music and stuff. And this was in 1980. And the stupid part for me is I'm kicking myself in the butt because that was 1980. But by the late 1980s, you know, the entrances and stuff were changing, where guys would come out to music.
Yeah.
I think Flair had 2001 or Hulk had something anyway. And I got Boo on Me, and I never thought of playing it.
Man.
Idiot. I'm an idiot. So one of the guys at Pro Wrestling Tees knew about it. So you go to ProWrestlingTees.com. You can get a Boo on Me shirt. I told him, make it bright yellow with big black Boo on Me, because if you go to a TV tape, the yellow sticks out in the crowd with the Boo on Me.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
then when we made the movie, The Unbreakable Bunch, the director heard Boo on Me, and he was going to put it at the end of the movie when the credits were going up. Could have started with a wrestling bell and blah, blah, blah. But for some legalities, it didn't. But one of my lines in the movie when I was shooting some aliens, I was going, Boo on Me, you parasite.
I must think, okay. And I've watched the movie like 1.5 times because I fell asleep, and that was not because of the movie, but just I fell asleep, and so I had to rewatch it. But I'll have to look back at that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Didn't catch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it was a well-done movie, and you know, it's a low-budget movie, but well done. And it's not a wrestling movie.
No.
It's a science fiction action adventure. It's family friendly, you know, movie, and I hope it's just a matter of publicity, but it's a fun to watch movie. Again, family friendly. So I hope, and Ray worked his butt off. Him and Luther worked their butts off for 10 years to get this movie done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, we had him on, Ray, and we talked about it, and then that, before he came on, obviously Jimmy and I watched it, and I liked it. I mean, it for what it was supposed to be. It was good, and seeing all the guys in there, I just told him. I told Ray, I said, the only part I didn't like, I said, there wasn't enough Gangrel in it. I love David. But I know, I talked to David after that, and he's like, man, I had so much going on, I couldn't stick around, blah, blah, blah. But, so it was a good movie, though.
Yeah,
it was a fun movie.
Dave did an appearance, Stan Hansen did an appearance, DDP did an appearance, some other guys. But the guys are busy, but the movie, I think, is going to be a classic someday because it's not about a wrestling movie. It's something different. It's kind of like a cult. I told him once, I said, you might want to change the title to Plan 10 from Outer Space.
I like that. Yeah.
Because they had Plan 9, with
way back
from Outer Space was a classic. But the Unbreakable Bunch, we'll see what happens. But it's a fun to watch. Anybody hears this podcast, check it out. You can watch it cheap, the Unbreakable Bunch.
Yeah.
So I just want to say this, and I'll let Wolfie go on with his process here. So I got to say this. You are the thing that has been missing from all my favorite mob movies. You could have been in any of the old school movies with Bogart and stuff, but you could have been in Casino, Goodfellas. You could have been on The Sopranos. You held every time you were, and I'm not saying, this is not hyperbole, I promise. I'm not blowing smoke. You held the screen when you were on it. And I think that's just something about you that you exude, I guess. But man, I was so impressed by your role in that movie. I really was.
Thank you. I got a lot of compliments. Even the director said, "Hey, Larry, you're the new John Voight."
There you go. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I took it as a big compliment. So thank you.
Yeah.
Larry, man, I'm not going to keep you any longer. And again, I really, really, really appreciate you doing this for us and coming on and talking to us. I could keep going, man, for days, but I know you got things you got to do. And again, thank you so much. Thank you for your career, man. And like Seriously. I told you on the phone privately, I know for a fact you've called one of my matches before, and we'll try to find it. At any rate, man, thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Well,
absolutely.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Everybody can watch the Unbreakable Bunch, and Shoot Pro should be on Roku and Trilla, some new thing, and some others, but it may start in like a month or so. But it's real. It's an ancient sport, and it's bone breaking. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to watch. It's an ancient sport brought back into modern times where guys can get really hurt. I mean, it's brutal.
Man.
Awesome.
Sounds awesome.
I'll check it out for sure, and I'm sure the listeners will too. And then also, don't forget Pro Wrestling Tees. Go to Larry's. It's under Larry Zbyszko, I would assume, for the Boo on Me. And
Larry Zbyszko Boo on Me shirt. And
that's so gangster. It's so gangster before gangster was actually a thing, man. Because it just sounds like, man, they booing on me, man. They booing on me. Man.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, in the bright yellow with the black Boo on Me, it sticks out in the crowd if you're on TV,
Yes.
Plus, if you're protesting, it's perfect for protesting because you can protest and have Boo on Me if you don't agree with me.
I love that.
That's great. for all you protesters out there, go to Larry's page.
Get a Boo on Me shirt. Yeah, tell them all.
Sit in traffic with your Larry Zbyszko shirts on.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, you have a great rest of your day, and guys, tune in. We'll be right back after these messages.
Well, thanks, Jimmy, Wolfie. Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you,
sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thank you so much, living legend Larry Zbyszko, man. That is awesome.
I know.
Super awesome, man. Super awesome. Thank him so much because I'm just telling you, the setup for this was something that I really worked on. To talk to him. I had to put in some time talking to him and got this and made it happen. And thank you so much, Larry Zbyszko. Next week, another one that is super, super, super cool. Perry Saturn is going to be on the show next week, man. You guys got to tune in for that one. A guy that I go way back with. He's got some stories that, man, God, he should write a fucking book. Like, seriously, I think that would sell a lot. Former Army Ranger. He's had some ups, downs, in-betweens, all that kind of stuff, man. Perry Saturn is the man. I love Perry Saturn to death, man. He beat me to death, but I love him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a full circle episode for us, like he started, you were with him so early on in your career. I can't wait to listen to those stories. I can't wait to just talk to him and get to ask him a couple questions and have some fun, man. I know he's got an incredible story, and I can't wait to dig into it. So, y'all tune in next week, right? Tell them, Wolfie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's going to be cool. And again, me and Perry have talked on the phone here just recently. We reconnected thanks to Haggis. They were doing a thing. Him and Sonny Ono. What is that called? The Chosen One?
Chop Shop or something.
I think you get a contract to Japan or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Those two were together. And Cahagas hits me up, and he's like, I got Perry with me right now, and sends me a picture and puts Perry on the phone. And I'm like, bro, I've been trying to get in contact with you forever. And he's like, nobody told me. So that means the other people were lying. I'm not going to say their names, but Yeah, I'm not gonna say the names. Piece of shit, motherfucker. But anyway, Perry was happy to talk to me, and we talked a few times, and now we got this worked out. So we have him next week. You be sure and tune in because this is going to be really good.
Still livin' in color on the Wolfie D. We got a cap for your dome.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com, and to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
That's right, it's the Talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at Warren Wolf 13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at James Rock Street on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
Yeah. PG-13 Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame Class of 2024. Give it up. Spaceman Jones with the beat. Here we go. The 90s was ours, and we did it with pride. 15-time tag champs, what a hell of a ride. Rock and roll couldn't beat us. No Tommy and Doug. Knox Smothers, dirty white boy who called themselves thugs. T is for terrible. H is for hell. Ha! PG both been locked up in county jail. The kid was real, and we were immature punks. Buddy Wayne couldn't stand us because we didn't wear trunks. We did it our way, in and out of the ring. Bought a real rap swagger to the Memphis thing. You can hate it, you can love it. We just did our thing. Still true to the game. Now we Hall of Fame. PG-13. Put respect on our name. Yeah.
This has been a James Rock Street production.